to Ottawa Experts. I'm Moira and I'm here with my guests Jennifer Dawson and Jacqueline Richards. If you're just joining us, we're talking about how to tap into the energy of spring, the cleaning and clearing energy that spring can bring. And like I said before the break, I wanted to talk a wee bit about New Year's resolutions, because this is, like I said earlier, this is the beginning of the second quarter. And as Jacqueline mentioned, that it's really good to check in with yourself every 30, 60 or 90 days. So here we are starting a new quarter. How are you doing with your New Year's resolutions? How are you doing with New Year's resolutions?
Well, I personally don't tend to make New Year's resolutions. This springtime is when, for me, the new year really begins. It's sort of renewal and rebirth, and things are growing, and I can open the windows. I don't do well with winter. January is no time for me to start anything new. I'm cranky and I want the winter over with. So I don't tend to make New Year's resolutions. What I tend to do instead is choose a word to get me through the year. That's kind of my theme for the year. So this year my word was create. I wanted this to be a really creative year for me personally and for my business.
Good.
So I choose a word in January, but really my new year starts now as I can open the windows and let all that stuff out. And
good for you. And I can relate to that, because for myself, although I talk about New Year's resolutions, my birthday is in April. And so I actually run my year from my birthday to my birthday. So coming into April is a really big goal setting time for me, and kind of looking at what I've done the year before. But this year in particular, I did things a wee bit differently, because I did sit in January and I did it more from a cocooning place of I'm sitting here in the warmth and staying warm and staying out of the snow. And so then the April part was really giving some oomph to kind of taking that vision into much more step-by-step goals. So it's very interesting to play with that kind of energy. How about you, Jacqueline? Because we've talked about New Year's resolutions before.
Yes, we have. And I want everyone to be okay with falling off the wagon. You thought you were on track. January was fantastic. Remember I talked just briefly about adding on a little more than you accept. Yes. Okay, so you get past the first 10 and then you gain back another 5. And then you get past that and then I don't want to say distraught. It's kind of like the cash,
just
right?
Bit perturbed.
Just a bit. So I tacked that on, but it didn't necessarily go to the bank account. Okay. And CRA is banging on the door saying, hey, I think you owe some money. I was like, so it's kind of like, do I have the chocolate bar and deal with my bills right now? Or do I have a beautiful big glass of water, which you always talk about, yes. and like you, grab a little bucket and sort it. And just take that moment. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for me, what have I been doing? Getting back on track with my resolutions, because life happens.
Yep.
And things that you didn't think would transpires. So what do? You take a breath, have another glass of water, and look at the bills and figure out, okay, I will take that next step and it'll be all right. Mm-hmm. It'll be all right. Mm-hmm. So it's been, first quarter, very interesting. And my word, interesting you said that, last year was balance, just come into balance. This year I've decided it is that inner peace.
Oh, nice.
I will sit with that.
Yeah, good.
Word.
Yeah.
Good. So, because my word is actually clarity.
Ah, okay.
So
that was my word last year.
Oh, really? Very cool. So there's overlaps with all of that, but I think it's so important to be okay with whatever you do. Because something that I've said a number of times is, like Jacqueline, you were just saying about stuff happens, life happens. I believe that no problem or issue or catastrophe ever happens to us that we do not have the wherewithal to deal with. And sometimes in my own life experience, that's all I've been able to hold on to is like, I can deal with this, I don't know how, but and you must see that in some of your clients too, that you have to just keep reminding them that somewhere. That a lot of times people don't believe that, though, right?
No, and just as you mentioned with the weight thing, you know, as women we're so hard on ourselves, and certainly it's one thing I work with my clients a lot on is just accepting who they are, living in the moment that you're in, embracing that woman that you are today. And if you've got the closet that's got the skinny clothes and the sort of skinny clothes and the stuff I'm wearing now and the chubby clothes and the, you know, I really encourage them to let all that stuff go. It just sends themselves the message that who they are today is not okay. And that's not true. That's a lie. That's a lie that we get from media. That's a lie we get from our own heads. We need to, as women, let that go. Wear the clothes that fit today, wear them that make you look beautiful, and embrace who you are. And if you try it on and it doesn't make you feel good, get rid of it. Buy something that makes you feel beautiful, because you're beautiful at whatever size you are and whatever place you're in, and let that other stuff go, because it's just sending you the message that you're not okay, or you're going to fail and you need to keep those chubby clothes. Let it all go, and whatever size you are, just rock it out and be that woman.
And add another $10 to your tax-free savings account.
There you go.
There.
I like it.
And then all is well. No, you're so right about, and it's not just with our weight. It could be with our makeup or our just how we look, right? So it doesn't even have to be the weight per se, but it is our physical body image, right? But that chatter that goes on when we compare ourselves, that's the biggest part of where that comes from, I think, is we're comparing ourselves to skinny models on TV. Or one of the things that I've said before is, if you ever watch makeup ads on TV, have you ever noticed that they don't have pores?
No. No.
So they have no pores
and they all
on
have
their skin.
eyelash extensions before the mascara goes on.
But so it takes a level of self-awareness and confidence to be able to see those kind of images and not buy into the story and not think that it's got something to do with your worthiness.
Right.
Because you know something that I've said to people before, because as a hypnotherapist, people will come to me to help with weight loss. And whenever I do that with people, one of the first things that I have to do with them is to get them to accept who they are right now. Because my philosophy is, if you come and say, I'm not okay as I am, and I will learn to love and accept myself when I've dropped 20 pounds, you're not going to do it. Because this is an area that we can never punish ourselves into. In fact, I don't believe any goal can be truly attained by punishing ourselves. You know, which is how come I wanted to kind of touch base on that New Year's resolutions thing, because I think that if people, regardless of what time of year you set them, really, if you set an intention or a goal and then you don't make it, it's that what's going on in your head, right? It's the internal dialogue. And it's like to be okay with, well, I guess it wasn't the right time for that. So when's the next opportunity? Or allow your intuition to kind of wake up and say, okay, it wasn't that, but there's something better around the corner. Absolutely. Right? So this is all in alignment with what we've been talking about the chunking things down and the chatting nicely to yourself. What kind of feedback or ideas do you have for people to help with that inner dialogue?
Well, I think a lot of the work that I do with my clients is building them up. A lot of the clients that I work with have
their confidence.
Have really been through some kind of major transition in their life. There's been illness in the family, there's been death in the family, there's maybe been job loss, there's maybe depression or postpartum. You know, I work a lot with women and some men, but mostly women who are kind of coming out of that and are already feeling broken and wounded. So a lot of what we do is work on that inner dialogue and awareness. So that's where filming a video so that they can see how far they've come, where working through the issue of clothing, to let them know that the body that they have now is good enough, and just constantly reinforcing and trying to get rid of the negative messages. And certainly one of the things I do with women is try to encourage them to stop purchasing magazines. There's a real trend that I see through most of my clients, that they buy a lot of magazines and think that they have to live up to that image, whether it's a home decorating magazine or it's a fashion magazine or a lifestyle magazine. They don't all, but overall, many of them think they need to live that way. Well, no one in those home decorating magazines is actually living there. They do go into homes, but then they go in and they stage them to do the photos. That's not how that family lives. Right? It's staged. It's not life.
Flawed reality.
If you have kids, your home is not going to look like a magazine. You know, it's going to look like an explosion sometimes. But the key to being organized is that when you clean up the explosion, everything has a purpose, has a place, has a home. And that there's nothing there that doesn't fall into the need, want, you know, or is useful in your life categories. So it's paring down and simplifying, but it's living life. And life gets messy.
Life does get messy. I like what you brought up about the magazine part. Do you think, it's just something that popped into my head when you said it, was that when people are buying these magazines and looking at the glamorous life or the glamorous body or whatever it is, the houses, is it because they can't accept where they are? Are they trying to disown or try and say that there's something wrong with what they're doing?
I don't think it's a conscious thing. Okay. I don't think they're consciously saying I'm not satisfied. I think we live in such a consumer society that we're always looking to purchase that thing that's going to make the house prettier, or plastic bins would be a perfect example. If I'll be organized if I just put my stuff in the bins. Well, then you have a bin problem, a big bin problem. So it's not about getting the stuff in our lives. It's about prioritizing. It's about really thinking and being conscious of where your money is going, where your life's energy is going, and where your mind is going, and
the mindset piece. No, and that's very important. So the thing is to always know that we can choose, because really, and you know, what you're talking about is actually kind of similar. There's a real correlation between what I said about helping somebody accept their body before they go into the hypnosis for weight loss. In essence, you're going to help somebody be at peace with where they are and not have to have something else to make them happy. They are what it is right now. And then there's value adds that you can do. Right? But it's to actually accept what is. Then, do you know the biggest fear that comes up when I have these conversations with clients is they think that if they accept what is, it's being lazy and that they'll never change it, which is actually so far from the truth, right? I don't know where that comes from for people, but
it's often the awareness of where you are that moves you forward. I know when I live in fear and I'm fearful of doing something, I get angry at myself, and that pushes me forward.
Absolutely.
So, but I have to kind of look at, okay, why am I feeling this fear of whatever, TV or public speaking or whatever, and then get frustrated and move forward. And a lot of my clients do come to that point where they do see where they are and they get angry. And then they really push forward, and decisions that might have been a little bit of a struggle in the beginning become easier and easier and easier. And I was with someone last week, and she's like, pitch it. So I left, and my whole van was full of stuff to donate. Whereas 6 months ago,
Jennifer, we're going to let's come back to that, because I want to come back to that in a minute, but we do have to go to break. Okay. So please stay tuned, and we're going to chat some more about how to use that anger that she just talked about. See you in a minute.